person. Because what happened for me is I got falsely arrested, got wrongfully prosecuted, and ended up being maliciously incarcerated. So I'm sitting at Langata Women Maximum Prison with my 3-month-old daughter, my firstborn, wondering what just went wrong. How do you keep your mind focused in the middle of so much chaos, so much turmoil that you never even imagined would come your way? And I truly had to keep a positive mindset, as much as I was sitting in that largest correctional facility for women in this country with my daughter, knowing that tomorrow I've got to dust myself up and continue building not just my life, but because my eyes opened to see that I'm not the only one in this situation in Kenya. There's what we call corruption tax, even as we're doing our business. And you could have the cleanest books, you could have the smartest speech, you could have the best product, but there are just so many things coming your way. So what do you do when everything is coming in on you? So anyway, eventually when I left prison, I set up the organization Clean Start. And as we, have this discussion this evening, Clean Start has not only been a platform where I have rebuilt my life, it's been a platform where millions of women literally in this country, on one hand, has found a platform to rebuild themselves. And I'm just so grateful to see some of our partners here who support us in that space of supporting these women rebuild their lives, offering them capital, offering them markets, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, it's looking at the situation that has happened to you and saying, no, we cannot continue having a justice system that's not serving the citizens of the country the way it should be. And, on the other hand, and I'm just so glad to also be having the chair of our board of directors, Ms. Renee Ngamau here, is asking ourselves the question every single day, how do we rethink justice in Kenya? And, we're at a beautiful cusp where, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's the police, whether it's the correctional services, are saying, you've come up with a model that works, that does not punish the poor and vulnerable in this country. And can we adopt it in Kenya? But not just Kenya. Today we had a brilliant conversations with about 10 other African countries who are saying this is a solution that can work. Instead of criminalizing poverty, the hawkers, the people making the changai and so on and so forth, that's how we can handle them. So I'm, looking forward to having this discussion on how do you keep your mindset positive and emotion grounded when everything is closing down on you, because you still have tomorrow to live. But most importantly, it's not just for you. It's for the many others in that kind of a situation, finding solutions. And I look at Mike and I'm like, wow, he's seen founders. Because when you're running business or as a founder, it can be very difficult. You think in your corner, you're the only one going through, you're the only one receiving the emails from KRA. And you're wondering, oh my God, how do I respond? How do I handle this? You think you're the only one. Yeah? You think you're the only one who's not getting the profit or the funding in our case, because on one side, on our not-for-profit arm, this year we woke up to Trump economics, yeah? Where 3/4 of your budget will no longer be funded from the US and other markets and so on and so forth. What do you do? So I'm so grateful for these kind of platforms where you get to discuss, learn from what other entrepreneurs are going through, but most importantly, just sharing my insights from a mind and emotion perspective. Thank you for having me.